Hello, and welcome to the QMS Certification Channel. Today, we're continuing our ISO 14001 to 2026 series with another major topic: organizational context, environmental conditions, and double materiality. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share this video with professionals interested in environmental management systems and sustainability. Now let's talk about one of the most important conceptual changes introduced in ISO 14001:2026. The concept of double materiality. This topic has become increasingly important across sustainability, ESG governance, and environmental management discussions worldwide. And now, ISO 14001 incorporates this concept much more directly into the management system itself. The change appears mainly within Clause 4, understanding the organization and its context. If you already work with ISO management systems, you know that organizational context analysis has existed since ISO's high-level structure was introduced. However, ISO 14001:2026 significantly expands how environmental context must be evaluated. Previously, organizations mainly focused on evaluating the environmental impacts they caused. In other words, how the organization affects the environment. That approach still exists. But now, the standard also requires organizations to evaluate the opposite perspective: how environmental conditions can affect the organization itself. That is the essence of double materiality: inside-out impacts and outside-in impacts. This is a major evolution in environmental management thinking. The standard now explicitly states that organizations must consider environmental conditions capable of affecting the organization itself. Examples include climate change, resource availability, pollution levels, biodiversity, and ecosystem health. Now let's make this practical. Imagine a manufacturing company operating in a region facing water scarcity. Water availability becomes an environmental condition capable of directly impacting operations. Or imagine a logistics company operating in areas increasingly affected by floods or extreme climate events. Those environmental changes may disrupt deliveries, operations, and supply chains. An agricultural organization may face severe climate impacts affecting production yields. These are all examples of environmental conditions affecting the organization. And that is exactly what ISO 14001:2026 now expects organizations to evaluate more robustly. This means environmental management becomes much more strategic. Organizations must now think not only about environmental compliance, but also about environmental resilience. Now let's clarify something important. The standard does not require organizations to treat every environmental issue as material. The organization must evaluate materiality. In other words, is this issue relevant to the organization's context? Does it significantly affect operations, risks, continuity, stakeholders, or environmental performance? If the answer is yes, then it must be addressed within the environmental management system. That evaluation process becomes critical. Now, let's talk about implementation. How should organizations approach this new requirement? Step 1. Review and update your organizational context analysis. Most organizations already use tools such as SWOT analysis or other strategic evaluation methods. Those tools can still be used. However, organizations must now include environmental conditions capable of affecting operational reality. This means evaluating both environmental impacts caused by the organization and environmental risks originating externally. Step 2. Assess materiality. Not every environmental issue will necessarily apply to every organization. The key is demonstrating that the organization performed a structured evaluation and determined relevance based on operational context. Step 3. Connect material issues to risk and opportunity management. This is extremely important. One of the most common weaknesses in management systems is when organizations identify issues within context analysis, but fail to translate them into operational risks, controls, objectives, or actions. ISO 14001:2026 pushes organizations towards stronger integration between context analysis, risk management, operational planning, and environmental objectives. The process becomes interconnected. If an issue is material, it must influence risk assessment. And if risks exist, the organization must evaluate controls and actions. That is the management system logic. Now let's discuss what auditors will evaluate during ISO 14001:2026 audits. Auditors will first verify whether the organization genuinely evaluated environmental conditions within its context analysis. Was climate change considered? Were environmental dependencies evaluated? Were biodiversity or ecosystem-related risks assessed? Then the auditor will evaluate materiality determination. Did the organization determine whether those issues were relevant? And finally, how were those issues translated into risks, opportunities, controls, or action plans? The expectation is not theoretical discussion. The expectation is integration into the management system itself. Organizations that only mention environmental issues superficially without connecting them to operational controls may struggle during audits. The goal is coherence and strategic environmental governance. Ultimately, this update represents one of the most significant mindset shifts in ISO 14001:2026. Environmental management is no longer limited to managing internal environmental impacts alone. Organizations must now understand how environmental conditions shape operational resilience, sustainability, and long-term business continuity. That broader perspective is exactly where modern environmental management systems are heading. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.